This is Jason the Funky Trumpet. I want to thank you for your support and likes to the channel. This message has been brought to you by artificial intelligence. Yo! Welcome back. If this is not your first time, welcome to everything that we do on this channel, musical experience and history of the digital age. We have been out for a couple of weeks, and 2003 was the last year we covered. 2000, obviously, we're going into 2004. We're going to continue the entire aughts because, frankly, I was there. 2004, I was in college, one of them, and yeah, oh my god, it's been 21 years as of the time of this recording. 21 years since 2004. Although it seems like yesterday, because I still have records 5 feet away from me from 2004. I remember walking into Hot Topic and buying Moonshine records that had like DJ Icy and Baby Ann and stuff like that. I was literally in ska bands and DJing and in college, and we were staying in hotels in different cities. I have a little tiny shoebox somewhere full of the hotel key cards they give you. You know what I mean? Like just full of key cards from Holiday Inn and Fairfield Inn and all these little tiny motel blah 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 blah. My god, that was a fun year. And then you'd be back in class on Monday like nothing ever happened. It was insane. 2004 was also another progressive year when it comes to technology. We had, Zynga and AOL, AIM, ICQ that had led up to basically like the beginning of what we now know as social media. No one really spent time online. We lived our lives. So that's a thing you're going to see. Before I get into the video, you're going to see a lot of that, where people are just living their lives. And as the next 5 years progress, you're going to see less living of lives and more living online. So I want you guys who have been watching this to tell me, and by the way, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We just crossed the 400 mark, and I'm really, really appreciative of that. Never expected that to happen, but if you guys get me up to 500, tell you what, I will give away one set of 3D printed 45 adapters, and we get to 1,000, I will literally pick one of my subscribers, and I will give away a 3D printed, box, a pack of 3D prints. Whether it be, we'll get to that when we come to it, because I've been 3D printing for 5 years. My live streams are up, check them out. We do a lot of stuff. Actually, just before I started this recording, finished a 3D printed, articulated raccoon. I forgot what it was. I was about to say rabbit. Marvel on the mind. Alright, 2004. Oh my god, what's in store?
You're managed by the company you look after S Club 7, you used to look after the Spice Girls Simon Fuller. Have they tried to mould you and ask you to do things to change the way you look?
Yeah, one of them tried to mould me into a big triangle shape, and I went, no.
2004. We weren't quite halfway through the aughts.
Let me tell you about my boat.
But we were deep enough in to realize the world had changed, and there would be no going back.
Snuck
2003 had been most...
Dude, The Incredibles. Still to this day, one of my favorite movie series. Still to this day. I love that movie series. And the second one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. And the fact, speaking of living your life online, Screenslaver kind of nailed it. Anyway, enough of that.
Mostly about the build-up to the Iraq War and the subsequent fallout. But 2004 brought with it a presidential election that would allow for a referendum on the U.S.-led invasion. At the same time...
Oh my god. Yeah, I was gonna say something about the giant douche versus the turd stand. Yeah, MySpace. Yes! MySpace for the win. Dude, we gave it all. We had it all with MySpace. And we gave it up. Sorry, Tom. If you're out there, Tom, I'm sorry. Man, we didn't deserve you. You were an awesome friend to all of us. You were all of our friend. F in the chat for Tom.
Time, it would also see the birth of a social networking site that would change how we all relate to each other online, one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history, and a World Series that the people of Boston would never stop talking about. So, we're going to take you through the news,
The curse of the Bambino was finally broken in 2004.
culture, sports, entertainment, and all that was weird in 2004. This is Timeline.
Put in the comments, where were you in 2004? What grade were you in? Were you even born yet? Like, I was 23, 22, 23. Nobody likes you when you're 23. That was me.
And we're going to take you back a nice round 20 years because this one is all about 2004. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel.
I say it in every video because they are awesome enough to let me do this. Go subscribe to Weird History. What they do, here, I'll even get, ooh, right there, look at that. Go subscribe to Weird History because it's not just like the 2000s. They do a whole slew of different series and they meticulously break down this stuff in various forms, various ways. I love it. I love their channel. Go subscribe to them. And thank you again, Weird History, for letting me do this. It's kind of nice to relive my past, even though it seemed like it happened yesterday.
And let us know in the comments below your favorite memory from the aughts. Now, are you ready to see what happened precisely 1/5 of a century ago? This is
right.
2004.
Isn't we supposed to be having a fiesta? Uno, dos, cuatro, hit it!
Number one song in the USA on American Top 40 for the 4th week running. Hey Ya by Outkast.
The original run of Casey Kasem's American Top 40 last
Dude, I grew up listening to that. My first job, that was on every Sunday. Oh my God, I listened to him I listened to him. He was also the voice of Robin on the animated Batman series when they would team up with no, not Robin. Was he Robin too? Or was he Scooby-Doo? Or not Scooby-Doo, Shaggy-Doo. Shaggy and Robin. I want to say he was both. Double check. I know I'm wrong, and people love correcting people in the comment section. So let me know what the right answer is. I think he was Shaggy. I'm not gonna look it up because I want to watch this.
from July 4th, 1970 to January 28th, 1995. But the show was revived 3 years later, and Kasem would continue to count off the hits for America for another 6 years. On January 3rd, however, Kasem would say goodbye for the last time, handing over hosting duties to American Idol host Ryan Seacrest.
Rather than feeling sad about leaving American Top 40, I'm happy having done what I did.
On January 4th, NASA took one giant leap for mankind when they safely and successfully landed the Spirit rover on the surface of Mars. Spirit would touch down 3 weeks before its twin, Opportunity, landed on the other side of the planet. Originally planned to be a 90-day mission, Spirit would ultimately stay mobile for 1,944 days and operational for 2,269 days.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the one that sang Happy Birthday to itself and then like ran out of juice and we just left it there. We have trashed Mars.
Garth Marenghi, author, Dreamweaver.
I'm Dr. Sanchez. You're a woman.
Yes, I hope that's not a problem.
Not at all. There's plenty of scale on the wall. This is the 20th century after all, though some don't like to admit it. Welcome to Dark Place, Liz.
The My Doom computer worm targeted computers running Microsoft Windows, and it was first detected in North America on January 26th. True to its name, it quickly became the single fastest spreading email worm up until that point in history. Presenting as a poorly written email that was routinely disregarded as spam, My Doom would ultimately infect over 500,000 computers around the world. Its creator remains unknown to this day. And that
Can you imagine that, getting 21 years and...
That same day, Hamid Karzai, president of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, signed the nation's new constitution into law. Drafted to establish a new government after the U.S.-led invasion drove the Taliban from power, the constitution provided for an elected National Assembly and president. At least it did for 7...
How long do you think that lasted?
17 years. The U.S. withdrew its military presence from the country completely in September of 2021. And as the withdrawal approached, the Taliban launched an offensive. The nation's security forces quickly collapsed, and the new government and its constitution was terminated on August 15, 2021, when the Taliban took power. February 1st brought Super Bowl 38, but it was the
reason we have YouTube today is because of this moment right here.
halftime show starring Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake that everyone would be talking about the next day. That's because during a performance of Rock Your Body, Timberlake pulled off part of Jackson's outfit, exposing her right breast.
And guess who had to apologize? You think Justin, right? No, of course not. Of course not. Justin didn't have to apologize. It didn't ruin Justin's career. Miss Janet is the one who had to apologize. Well, make it make sense. None of that made sense. And that also led to a 5-second delay in television broadcasting. So anything you see on TV is 5 seconds after it was. Yeah, we don't get live TV anymore.
The piece
live.
But more came off than what was supposed to.
The shot lasted less than a second, but the so-called wardrobe malfunction still led to a crackdown on indecency in broadcasting. If you've seen The Social Network, then you know that when Mark Zuckerberg first launched Facebook on February 4th, it was called The Facebook, originally limited to students at Harvard University.
I had one of the first accounts at my school. I did. I remember the freaking the post they put on the little UC poster board thing, whatever. That's how you got information out before social media. You'd put a piece of paper on a board, and I was like, if you're interested in a new social media site, come to this room in the UC, blah, 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 blah. We all went. You had to have an EDU, and it was a way to connect with friends from other colleges. I have had an account for now 20 years, and I may end up deleting it because it's nowhere near as fun as it used to be. Like, it oh my god, so many ads and so much, like, just crap.
Facebook would prove incredibly popular and quickly expand to other colleges.
What is the Facebook exactly?
Like, don't get me wrong, it was fun. But I had my information hacked in that Cambridge Analytica scandal. Somebody opened a Discover card in my name, and like, why the would you ever open a Discover card? I don't know, but that happened.
It's an online directory that connects people.
Poking people. That's it. Yeah, that was the early 2000s. What you doing at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Through universities and colleges through their social networks there. Make a profile about yourself by answering some
act human, act human, act human
questions, and most importantly,
act human, act human.
Who your friends are.
And by 2006, it would.
Hey, I wonder if Shochu is anywhere in that room.
Would be open to pretty much anyone. On February 10th, Kanye West's debut studio album, The College Dropout, dropped to mass acclaim. The album diverged from mainstream hip-hop at the time and touched on more thought-provoking subjects such as racism, religion, and the need for higher education. It also told the story of Kanye's near-fatal accident in 2002 through the track Through the Wire.
The music on this CD, I was only the vessel for this. God was in the studio with me. This was my healing process.
I did forget Pharrell was like on every beat in the early 2000s. The Neptunes, NERD, yeah. Neptunes, Timbaland.
It was my rehabilitation.
Who else? Lil Jon.
CD.
You one of my favorite artists, man. You gonna make it, and when you make it, keep the same perspective.
The album
Ludacris owned the early 2000s too.
Skyrocketed Kanye into stardom, and he remains one of the most famous and controversial recording artists to this day.
It's Aunt Em, darling.
Well, she seems all right now.
We kind of thought she was gonna leave us.
But I did leave, and I tried to get back for days. You just had a bad dream.
Sure. Remember me?
Oh, but it wasn't a dream. Only you were blue, and you were red, And you were yellow. You were all in color and all so beautiful. Oh, it was a lot better.
Help the M&Ms find their colors.
On February 12th, San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom directed the city clerk's office to begin issuing marriage licenses for same-sex couples.
Civil unions is separate and fundamentally unequal, but the fact that we've moved that far so quickly is remarkable.
When challenged in court, the California
Wow, I forgot he had like dark hair. That dude's salt and pepper now.
Supreme Court overruled Newsom's directive, instructing that clerks had to issue licenses according to existing laws. The roughly 4,000 licenses that had been issued were voided. But later legal challenges saw that California Supreme Court in 2008 determine that the state constitution provided for legal same-sex marriage. After being elected as California's lieutenant governor in 2010 and serving in that office for 8
See? Salt and pepper. That dude aging like fine wine. This is not anything political. I'm just saying that dude does. I'm a straight dad. That dude looks good. I kind of like to look that good someday.
years, Newsom was elected governor on November 6, 2018. And on March 1st, Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh's accomplice, Terry Nichols, was convicted in federal court of 8 counts.
I swear, as long as I live, that will always bother me. My mom, okay, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I live in Tulsa. I'm from Tulsa. This affected us personally because my mom went down to that building once a month. Like, as an attorney, she went down to that building once a month. And every month she went with her friend. They would go to a certain women's bathroom that was like really protected, whatever. They would kind of hype themselves up, and her friend was in the building that the day that happened, and the only reason her friend survived is because she was in that bathroom. My mom did not go to Oklahoma City that day. I will never forget that. Like, people talk about how they remember where they were, certain events. I remember being they called us into the auditorium. I was in 8th grade. They were like, yo, listen up. What happened was, not really, that's not what my principal said. He was, more professional terms. Hey, look, A, B, C, D, and E, and I went booking for the nearest payphone because pre-cell phone days. Long story short, like, they had to pull me away from the payphone. I was trying to get a hold of my mom, thinking that she was in there. And 168 people lost their lives that day because some dude and his buddy rolled a truck into the Murrah building or next to it and set off. That one really, really, really hit home. And to add more history to it, during the hearings of this, somebody brought up that was the worst tragedy in Oklahoma's history. And another senator brought up that, yes, it is a tragedy, but something else had occurred previously. And that's how most people found out about the massacre in 1921 that occurred on Black Wall Street. So there's your history fact. History little tidbits. Former teacher, I can't help it. I love history, study history, live in Tulsa. This affected me. There you go.
Counts of involuntary manslaughter and conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction. He would also later be convicted in state court of 161 counts of first-degree murder. While McVeigh was sentenced to death, however, Nichols was instead sentenced to life imprisonment. And the following day, Yeah by Usher hit #1 on the Billboard charts. Released less than a month earlier, the track...
I like how they make that transition real quick. Real sad, real sad. Yeah! Dun-dun! Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. Ludacris and Usher, Lil Jon,
which featured Lil Jon and Ludacris, would stay in that position for 12 weeks and finish the year as the #1 single on Billboard's...
It is still a banger, though.
Hot 100. Also on March 2nd, the Indianapolis Colts would sign their soon-to-be iconic quarterback Peyton Manning to a 7-year, $98 million deal. with a signing bonus just shy of $35 million. It was, at the time, the largest financial offer ever made to play in the NFL. In the early hours of March 11th, the terrorist group Al-Qaeda would carry out a coordinated bombing attack against the Cercanías commuter train system local to Madrid in Spain. The two nearly simultaneous explosions, which constituted the deadliest terror attacks ever carried out in the country, would kill 193 people and injure over 2,000. And in an effort to save lives, on March 29th, the Republic of Ireland became the first country in the world to ban smoking in all workplaces, including bars and restaurants.
We all know that smoking is not good for you. We don't advocate smoking as publicans as such, but we advocate choice.
The rest of the world took note, and today, the World Health Organization counts 74 countries that have adopted similar bans. Given that it was April Fool's Day, it's understandable that when Google announced Gmail to the world, most people thought it was a prank. The fact that the company made the proclamation in...
They did not. Seriously? Oh, okay. That's a hell of a way to... Wow.
A humorously worded press release didn't help matters either. But as we know now, Gmail was very real. Today, it is the world's largest email provider with over 1.2 billion users. Take that, Hotmail.
So you agree? What? You think you're really pretty? Oh my god, I love your bracelet. Where did you get it?
Oh, my mom made it for me.
It's adorable.
Oh, it's so fetch.
That's so fetch.
Oh, it's like slang from England.
On April 22nd, U.S. Army Ranger Pat Tillman was killed in action in Afghanistan. A professional football player for the NFL's Arizona Cardinals, Tillman enlisted after the terror attack of September 11, 2001, and became the subject of much media attention. Though he was originally reported as being killed by the enemy, it would later be revealed that Tillman was the victim of friendly fire.
By making up these false stories, you're diminishing their true heroism. Everyone should understand what's going on, and we shouldn't be allowed to have smoke screens thrown in our face.
Then, on April 29th, after a...
They've been doing that for a long time. Look up the story of Glenn Miller. He was a victim of friendly fire back during World War II.
106 years of production, the last car Oldsmobile would ever build rolled off the assembly line.
Dude, my goal in life is to make enough money to buy a 1982 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme like my grandma had. It was two-door, baby blue, beautiful, leather interior. Oh, that thing was gorgeous. I want it. I want one. I want one. That or a GNX.
Line at a plant in Michigan.
It is the final Alero. It is also the final Oldsmobile.
The car was signed by the factory workers before being placed on display at a local transportation museum. And on April 30th, the television news magazine show 60 Minutes 2 reported that American soldiers had been abusing and sexually humiliating Iraqi prisoners at Abu Ghraib, the largest American military prison in Iraq.
What, if any, action is being taken against the interrogators?
I hope that investigation is including not only the people that actually committed the crimes, but some of the people might have encouraged these crimes as well.
Accompanied by graphic photos backing up these charges, the story disturbed Americans and the world at large, helping turn public sentiment against the war.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to show you a bunch of stuff that, there might be 12, 13, 14-year-old kids that sees this. I'm not trying to know. No. You see that on the news, not my channel. I don't mean to laugh. I just, after what I just said.
We love these subs! So are $1 off when you bring in a coupon!
Try to explain that commercial. Try to explain that commercial to your kids.
Quiznos subs!
Quiznos. Toasty.
Adios, arrivederci, au revoir. Take one, 5 cameras. Come.
After 10 years and 236 episodes,
I never watched a single episode of Friends. Sorry. Don't at me. Wasn't my thing. I was busy.
the beloved NBC sitcom Friends aired its series finale on May 6th.
This is harder than I thought it would be.
Over 51 million viewers tuned in to say goodbye to Ross, Monica, Chandler, Rachel, Phoebe, and Joey. Although it didn't draw as many viewers as the Cheers or Seinfeld finales, the 6-time Emmy winner was every bit the cultural phenomenon. and turned all 6 of its leads into stars.
Okay, should we get some coffee?
Sure. Where?
And Friends wasn't the only sitcom juggernaut to say goodbye in 2004, because after 11 years on the air and 37 Emmys for its cast and production...
That's right, I forgot Frasier was a spin-off of Cheers and actually lasted longer than Cheers, and if I'm not mistaken, it came back. Like, they brought it back.
Frasier also signed off for good.
Good night, Seattle.
A spin-off of Cheers, the psychiatry-centric Seattle set show, which starred Kelsey Grammer as Dr. Frasier Crane, lasted even longer than the series that spawned it. But even though he had already played Frasier for 20 years, Kelsey Grammer wasn't done yet. And almost 2 full decades after Frasier ended, Frasier returned.
See? I remember this stuff. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I remember this.
In a reboot that streams on Paramount Plus and is currently in its 2nd season.
Hello, Frasier.
Lilith. Dear God. Who looked in the mirror and said your name 3 times?
I got a proposition for you. We could take the funk. We'll be the family funk.
What, we can get out on dry land and get out of this place?
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's do it. Let's move. Come on.
Just one condition.
What?
That you take my sweet hand in marriage.
Oh, God.
And Randy Johnson, 24 up, 24 down.
Sports history was made on May 18th when Arizona Diamondbacks ace Randy Johnson became only the 17th pitcher in Major League Baseball history and the 7th in National League history to throw a perfect game.
Swing and a miss, and Randy Johnson, at 40 years young, has thrown a perfect game.
The win came at the expense of the Atlanta Braves, who took the 2-0 loss in front of their home crowd in Atlanta.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Oh, Peppa Pig, Peppa Pig, Peppa Pig. Miss Rachel is our American, let's say, answer to Peppa Pig. I have seen English parents who are complaining that their children are not speaking British or English because they listen to Miss Rachel. You full-on Cockney accents with their little 3-year-olds talking about, hi!
George wants to jump into the big puddle first.
Stop, George. I must check if it's safe for you. Good. It is safe for you.
For most people, winning on Jeopardy would be a huge deal. But for software developer Ken...
Oh my god, I remember watching that happen. Dude, every single day. That was our event. That was our For You page. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was watching it. Ken Jennings was a flipping legend. Oh my god, this dude was so fun to watch. He was so fun to watch. Go back. They're probably on here. Go back. He's the host now. Go back and watch
Jennings,
these.
the big deal was winning 74 times.
So much fun to watch that happen live, day after day after day.
In a row.
Who is Tyrone Power?
Correct. Jennings' streak, which came shortly after the show had dropped its long-standing rule limiting winners to 5 appearances, began on June 2nd and didn't end until November 30th. Following the death of Alex Trebek on November 8th, 2020, producers announced Ken Jennings would be the first in a series of guest hosts who would help keep the show running while a permanent host was found.
Like all Jeopardy fans, I miss Alex very much. I thank him for everything he did for all of us.
That new permanent host would eventually turn out to be Jennings himself, who became the sole holder of the job in 2023, after sharing the title for several seasons with Mayim Bialik. And on June 5th, Ronald Reagan, the 40th President of the United States, died at his Bel Air home after a decade-long battle with Alzheimer's disease. A state funeral service and National Day of Mourning would be held on June 11th, and his casket was ultimately interred at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in California. Developed by Mojave Aerospace Ventures without a dime of government money, Spaceship One became the first privately funded vehicle to achieve spaceflight on June 21st. Funding for the ship was provided by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen, who chipped in somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 million to complete the project. Then on July 1st, legendary actor Marlon Brando finally lost his battle with lung cancer and passed away at the age of 80. Known for his appearances in films like The Wild One and The Godfather,
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Brando's career on the silver screen spanned 6 decades and earned him 2 Academy Awards.
If you had the Academy Awards night to do over again, would you do any of that differently?
I felt that it was a marvelous opportunity for an Indian to be able to voice his opinion to 85 million people.
Boy, that escalated quickly. Brick killed a guy.
Yeah, there were horses and a man on fire, and I killed a guy with a trident.
Lay low for a while, because you're probably wanted for murder.
And Martha Stewart was still alive, but probably wished she were dead when she was sentenced to 5 months in prison for lying to federal...
Yeah, if you would have asked me in 2002, which out of the two, Snoop Dogg or Martha Stewart, would have a prison record, I would definitely not be putting my money on Martha Stewart.
Investigators in connection with an insider trading scandal.
Today is a shameful day. It's shameful for me and for my family and for my beloved company.
Despite the blow to her reputation and image, however, Stewart was able to bounce back after completing her sentence and continues her successful businesses.
Your car's in the parking lot. Here are your keys.
Do you realize what the hell we had to go through after you took the car?
Yeah, that's why I'm paying for your meal. Here's $50 for the burgers and $200 for the car.
What happened to my car?
I made some love stains in the back seat.
August 13th brought the start of the 2004 Summer Olympics, which were held in Athens, Greece, the original birthplace of the Games, and the site of the first modern Games. By the time it ended on August 29th, over 11,000 athletes had competed in 37 disciplines across 28 sports. American swimmer Michael Phelps ultimately wound up on top of the medals table with 6 gold and 2 bronze.
He is like the greatest Olympians, I think, by medal count. Michael Phelps. He won so many medals.
I realize I love you, but as long as you're with Jessica, there can never be anything between us.
Cassie, there's no need to cry. Besides, I've got really great news.
You're leaving
car insurance.
Jessica.
No. I just saved a load of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico. I saved.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
On August 22nd, in broad daylight, 2 masked gunmen burst into the Munch Museum in Oslo, Norway. While the terrified staff and guests looked on helplessly, the intruders stole the famous paintings The Scream and Madonna. However, in May of 2006, 3 men would be convicted of the theft. The paintings would be recovered that August, only slightly worse for the wearer.
Nobody's gonna go out with me. I don't even have any good skills.
What do you mean?
You know, like nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills, computer.
This is the hardest movie on like any streaming service to recommend because nobody's gotten it right. Nobody. It's either you hate it or you love it. There's no in between.
Hacking skills.
Aren't you pretty good at drawing like animals and warriors and stuff?
Probably the best that I know of.
On September 1st, a group of armed terrorists seized control of a school in the town of Beslan, North Ossetia, located in the North Caucasus region of Russia. The terrorists operated on behalf of a Chechen warlord who wanted to force Russia to recognize the independence of Chechnya. But on September 3rd, Russian forces moved in to retake the school, resulting in explosions and gunfights that ultimately took the lives of 344 people. 186 of which were children. Baseball history was made on September 15th when San Francisco Giants outfielder Barry Bonds hit his 700th career home run.
Oh, that won't last long.
Bonds hits one to left center field. Klesko back, number 700.
While Bonds' achievements would later be greatly overshadowed by his complicity in the steroid scandals, the feat still put the slugger in an extremely exclusive club, which at the time included only Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron. After the master tapes to what would have been their 7th studio album were stolen, pop-punk band Green Day wrote a whole new...
I forgot that. Yeah, somebody stole like the notebook and the tapes and dude.
Album from scratch. American Idiot dropped in the U.S. on September 21st and is still widely regarded as the group's masterpiece.
And the Grammy goes to American Idiot, Green Day.
Nominated for 7 Grammys, it took home Rock Album of the Year and is now considered one of the most important rock albums of its era. 10 years later, Green Day would give its regards to Broadway in the form of the American Idiot Rock Musical. Originally developed at the Berkeley Repertory Theater in California, the show, co-written by Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong, would run for 422 performances and win 2 Tony Awards. The fall brought with it two massively popular TV shows.
Please,
I have yet to figure out Lost. Still to this day, don't know how
someone come. The others, they're dead.
It's a distress call. Plea for help, a mayday. It's been playing over and over for 16 years.
I was laid to rest on a Monday. After the funeral, all the residents of Wisteria Lane came to pay their respects.
You know what I hate? Weeds. They just pop up out of nowhere and you have to work so hard to get rid of them.
I find with the right chemicals, you can get rid of almost anything.
On October 10th, the world lost a Superman with the death of actor Christopher Reeve, famous for playing the Man of Steel in a series of 4 movies starting in 1978. Paralyzed in a horseback riding accident 9 years earlier, Reeves, still widely regarded as the definitive cinematic Superman, ultimately died of heart failure at the age of 52.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please. Please call.
Do not sabotage me. If you want to be a fucking lightweight, then that's your call, but do not sabotage me.
Oh, aye, Captain, you got it.
And if they want to drink Merlot, we're drinking.
This one scene got this entire movie in trouble because the Merlot industry took a hit after this.
Merlot.
Oh, no, if anybody orders Merlot, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any fucking Merlot!
On October 20th.
That's how powerful movies are. That, I'm not even joking, look it up.
23rd, pop star Ashley.
No, God, I had put this out of my mind. No, the hoedown.
Ashley Simpson was set to perform live on SNL to promote her debut album, Autobiography. Due to a medical problem with her voice, her label encouraged her to perform on pre-recorded tracks.
Medical problem.
Her losing her voice.
The first song went smoothly, but when the second performance began, the wrong pre-recorded vocals were accidentally played.
Just sing live. Like, it's not hard. La 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 la. I'm Ashley Simpson. I'm gonna do a hoedown. Look at me in 5 seconds.
The famously awkward moment ended with Simpson doing a little jig and walking off stage. And her music career never recovered.
What can I say? Live TV.
Exactly. I feel so bad my band started playing the wrong song, and I know it's...
You never blame the band. Are you serious? Look at his face. He's like, yeah,
Multiple generations of Red Sox fans lived and died in the 86 years between the team's World Series victories in 1918 and the one they won on October 29th, finally vanquishing the mythical Curse of the Bambino, alleged to plague the team ever since team owner Harry Frazee traded away Babe Ruth.
Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
The Red Sox beat the St. Louis Cardinals in just 4 games. The 55th quadrennial presidential election in the United States was between incumbent George W. Bush and his Democratic challenger, Massachusetts Senator John Kerry. The sitting president would ultimately win both the electoral and popular vote on November 2nd.
The voters turned out in record numbers.
Again, not political, but like we felt as if we were voting for the same person. They both were members of the Skull and Bones. It was just weird. The South Park episode Giant Douche versus Turd Sandwich really nailed it.
And delivered an historic victory.
On November 9th, only months after turning in the manuscripts for the 3 books that would come to be known as the Millennium Trilogy, Swedish author Stieg Larsson tragically died of cardiac arrest at the age of 50. Those books, The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Who Played with Fire, and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, chronicled the adventures of journalist Mikael Blomqvist and hacker Lisbeth Salander, and would all go on to be international bestsellers. The highly anticipated Nintendo DS hit stores in North America on November 21st.
DS has a much larger and more relevant meaning. Developer's system. In creating DS, we've given the world's most talented game makers new ways to express their imaginations.
Pre-orders for the foldable handheld gaming system had been so high, the company had to devote an entire additional factory to their manufacture to keep up with demand. To date, all models of the DS have sold over 150 million units, making it the best-selling portable gaming system of all time. and the second best-selling system in history, behind only the PS2.
Still rocking my PS2 upstairs.
Though it was initially announced way back in 2001, World of Warcraft didn't arrive until November 23rd. Set in the Warcraft fantasy universe, the massively multiplayer online role-playing game was a hit with critics and fans, quickly becoming the most successful MMORPG of all time. By 2014, it would have over 100 million accounts, and by 2017, it would earn over $9 billion. Located near Millau, France, the Millau Viaduct stands at 1,104 feet above ground level and is still, to this day, the highest bridge in the world. Initially projected to open in January of the following year, the bridge was completed ahead of schedule. It was inaugurated on December 14th and officially opened on December 16th. At approximately 8 a.m. local time on December 26th, a massive undersea earthquake struck the Indian Ocean, just off the west coast of northern Sumatra in Indonesia. The quake then caused a tsunami with waves over 100 feet high. Coastal communities in the area were absolutely devastated, and nearly 228,000 people in 14 countries were killed. To date, it is still the single deadliest natural disaster of the 21st century. Rounding out the year with another colossal piece of construction, the Taipei 101 skyscraper located in Taipei, Taiwan, opened its doors as the then tallest building in the world on New Year's Eve. The Taipei 101 stands at a height of 1,670 feet tall, but it only held the crown for a few short years, relinquishing the top spot to the Burj Khalifa when it completed construction in 2010. Owned by the Taipei Financial Center Corporation, the building still remains the tallest building in Taiwan and the 11th tallest building on Earth. And that's how 2004 ended, with Bush back in the White House, Southeast Asia reeling from an unprecedented
The White House was full of Bush. Sorry, couldn't resist.
natural disaster, and everyone else wondering what was in the hatch on Lost. Weird as things were, we had finally reached the middle of the decade.
Yeah, wow.
But that's for next year. Coming soon, 2000.
Wow, to think about that. To think about that. Jeez. So 2004 was insane. Again, that was one of the most fun years of my life. One of the most fun summers. I have great memories and pictures, actual pictures, not digital pictures. Like, that's a time that we weren't stuck to our phones. That's a time where we would go out and have red Solo cups in our hands and like 3 or 4 things of soda, and everybody be out talking. It was fun. I loved that period of time. Again, put in the comments what you were doing in 2004, or if you were even around in 2004. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will see you in 2005. Peace.